Happy Sat Stack and Saturday, and welcome everyone to the #1 Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. Also, Bukele calls out the IMF, as well as Max Keiser challenging them to a live debate as they continue to spread their FUD, which is what they do best. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin supply shock could amplify the price in the coming months. Let's get it. Also, it is for everyone. Now at 60 billion worth of Bitcoin, strategies Mikey the Sailor appeals to the masses. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin bull market. Great validator comes as the James Wynn long leverage trader gets wiped out of $100 million, which is pretty wild. We'll be sharing this story as well as breaking news, 400,000 Bitcoin in play. According to this analyst, he says it is not a dream. It's coded into Bitcoin, 400,000, send it. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe, then ring the bell, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto newsletters every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Also, follow me on X and Rumble, because that's for the uncensored version of the pod. If anything were to happen to this channel, which typically happens every year, I get terminated under false pretenses because the forces of evil are on attack. So at least you can continue with the stream. And if you don't know now, you know. But anyways, today is pod episode 2008. I'm your host, JV. It's the last day of the month, May 31st, 2025. Happy Sat Stack and Saturday. Let's kick it off with our market watch. As we do each and every day, you should be able to see Coin 360 pulled up on the screen. Bitcoin finally back in the green after a week-long correction. In fact, just over a week ago, we hit the current all-time high on May 22nd, which is currently 112,000 even. Bitcoin up 0.25% on the daily. Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Tron, XLM all correcting and in the red. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at 3.28 trillion. All-time high is 3.75 trillion. Bitty market cap 2.078 trillion. We have 111 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Volume down 24% on the day, with the Bitcoin dominance coming in today at 63.4%, with the Ether dominance at 9.3%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got Tau leading the pack, up 9.5%, followed by Kronos up 5%, followed by Story up 4%, then very modest gains as the bulk of the market is correcting and in the red. Which alts are you bullish on for the bull? Holla, let me know, and I'll read your comments out loud here shortly. Checking out the crypto bubbles, get a visual perspective on the day. Safe to say the majority of the market correcting. Bitcoin, one of the few actually pumping on the daily. And checking out on the weekly, very similar scenario. I say 95% of the market still correcting, 5% in the green. Checking out for the monthly, I dare say 60-40 red over green. And for the yearly, which we typically don't even look at, you would assume it'd just be green, but no, it's mostly in the red. So the alts haven't been having an alt season this year. Unlike back in 2021 or even in 2017, the alts were ripping like the new Scottie Pippen. Times have definitely changed. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index today, we're dead in the middle of little Italy. Little did we know that we riddled some middlemen who didn't do diddly. 50 with a neutral. Yesterday a 60, last week a 66, and last month a 53. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar. We're on block height 899,242. A few days we'll be hitting 900,000 block. We have 150,758 blocks until the halving in 2028. And as of today, May 31st, 2025, you can exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 956 sats. So you know what to do. Pick up the sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Get yourself a custom CNA exclusive. And this is the place Max Keiser, Stacey Herbert, Nayib Bukele, and all the Bitcoin OGs cop their caps, and including Trump now rocking a Sergio exclusive. So if you don't know now, you know. Let's now transition into our TA, aka astrology for the baddies. Bitcoin bull run might be delayed as 104.5 weekly close becomes the key. And around this time tomorrow, we do get the weekly close. Happy 420. We just hit 420 here. And yeah, this is actually interesting. Bitcoin risk deeper correction as the next phase of the bull market faces a temporary setback. We've been correcting all week. Here's the 1 hour chart. And like I said, I'll pull up the live charts here shortly. Analysis is warning of a sub 100,000 price. And obviously we've been above 100 since we recently crossed the Rubicon here recently, and we hit the 112 all-time high. That was May 22nd. Bitcoin returned below the all-time highs May 31st as the latest correction neared 9,000, below the latest record peak after the bulls encountered resistance from multiple sources. On-chain indicators soon began to forecast a slowdown and bullish momentum. In its latest research report, on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant said some of Bitcoin's demand metrics may be reaching short-term tops, which could imply a pause of the current rally, as their analysts say here. The estimate of Bitcoin's demand growth in the last 30 days is 229, which is near the previous demand growth top, a 279,000 Bitcoin reach back in 2024. Additionally, the whale-held Bitcoin balances have increased by 2.8% over the past month, meaning the whales are continuing to accumulate as they should. It's the smart money, a pace that often precedes a slowdown and whale accumulation. CryptoQuant added that the unrealized profits were on average over 30% at 111,000. An ironic enough surge. That was the last Knicks victory score versus the Pacers at 111. Game on. And as such, market participants, while staying bullish on the return to the price discovery, still see the lower levels first incoming. On the daily chart, Analyst points out Bitcoin broken below the previous all-time high and is facing rejection at the same level. This might look like the start of a deeper correction. Let me know if you agree, disagree with the analyst. He also says the Bitcoin closes below the horizontal support and resistance line on the weekly. We should see a deeper pullback, possibly forming an inverse head and shoulders before the next leg up. And analyst also says bullish interpretation intact as long as the price holds above 73.7. And another analyst retained his midterm target of 137, one in play throughout 2025. CryptoQuant is seeing 120 as the next key magnet for the price action, and later we'll be covering 400,000 target as our feature story, so stick around. But pulling up some of the live charts, we'll do a little live chart action. Jackson Satisfaction, Tony Braxton, Bo Jackson for the baddies, of course. You should be able to see pulled up on your screen here any moment. This is via TradingView, via Coinbase, the largest exchange here in the United States. Looking at the daily, you can see red corrective, or this is actually the hourly, my apologies. We did start pumping here this morning, and then we started trading sideways, and we're currently sitting at just shy of 104.7 at the time of the live stream. Zooming out from the hour, and unfortunately, we don't have that bull 120 target in play that we printed just the other day. It has dispersed. But checking out the 4 hour, bullish this morning, big green 4 hour candle to where we're currently at. And we do actually have the 116 bullish pennant, 116.3 to be more precise. On the 4 hour chart, looking pretty bullish at the current time frame. And again, tomorrow we're going to get a new weekly close. We'll be pulling up the weekly chart here shortly. Checking out the daily chart, you can see 1, 2, 3 consecutive or 4 consecutive daily, red candles. Unfortunately, there's some super bear scenarios I'm not even going to entertain because I'm still overall extremely bullish above 100,000, especially at around 105, which is where we're currently at. But checking out the weekly, we will get a new weekly candle close tomorrow. We had 7 green consecutive weekly candle closes, which may be a new record. I don't recall ever having that long of bullish momentum in a row. And if we would have hit the 8th week, I'm pretty sure that would have been a record, but we're already printing a corrective red. So most likely, unless we get a massive pump between today and tomorrow at this time, we're most likely finally going to get a red candle to end that 7-week consecutive green candle weekly close streak. We also have a rising wedge with a bullish target in play at 124,000, which is a cup of handle. And checking out, next up, we'll check out the monthly and see how we're looking. Obviously, it's the last day of the month, and we do get a nice green candle pretty much, unless we get an extreme amount of bearishness here in the next few hours, but most likely we're printing a pretty substantial, healthy green candle for the month of May. It did not disappoint. April was even more bullish, and let's see as we head into June, and we're fast, getting into the thick of it, still in Q2 of the year. Q1 was pretty corrective after hitting the previous all-time high. with the Trumpster, the Trumpinator, which was on Inauguration Day. Then we've been corrective, and we just hit the new all-time high, currently again 112. But you let me know where you feel the pretty little bitty is likely to take us next, and I'll read your comments out loud. We just did the TA, right? Well, next is the FUD we're going to destroy surrounding the IMF. Let's kick it off with this tweet from Nayib Bukele. The Economist wrote, and FYI, I'll share with you who the primary shareholders of The Economist are, just to give you some insight, but this is what they wrote. When El Salvador's would-be strongman promised to keep people safe from criminals by suspending the rule of law, he succeeded for a while, but now there is no law left to keep Salvadorans safe from their dictator. Talk about a hit piece. Bukele responded, just say you want your gangs killing honest people again. I respect the bluntness of Bukele because that's 100% accurate in my humble opinion. Now check this out. According to Grok, who owns The Economist is owned by The Economist Group, the major stakes held by the Agnelli family, globalists. They own 43% through Exor, and the Rothschild family. You've probably heard of that family before. They own 21%, alongside other globalist shareholders such as Cadbury, Schroeder, and Staff. So ultimately, what we're trying to say, the forces of evil don't like good people, and they don't like good things going on the planet. And that goes for the people of El Salvador. My two Satoshis is they're looking at what El Salvador did as a potential domino effect that other countries are going to follow in their blueprint and footsteps, in which they will, and it will be the collapse of their globalist control. So they're fighting it by any means necessary. And this headline here, let me read this one to you. IMF raises concerns over Pakistan's Bitcoin mining power plan. I'll share this report because now they're fighting Pakistan just like they've been fighting El Salvador. Max Kaiser, I always respect his perspective. He chimed in, IMF, debate me live. Explain why your Bitcoin position goes against every recommendation by every country and company in the world, seeking greater stability in a world of fiat banksters like yourself, pushing extremely unstable fiat money. Max also says, the IMF said in 2023, when describing El Salvador's Bitcoin adoption, the risks we anticipated never materialized. I would love to live debate an IMF rep. RT, make it happen, Captain. Let's go. He also wrote, for 20 years, I remain undefeated, debating wanker banksters on live TV, exposing their pomposity, lies, intellectual dishonesty, and obviously corruption. I would love an IMF scalp to hang in my trophy case. Have your people call my people chumps. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's why we all love your holiness, Max Kaiser, Bitcoin strategic man behind Bukele in El Salvador, alongside, Stacy with the Bitcoin office. But let's dive a little deeper into their latest FUD against Pakistan. The IMF has raised concerns over Pakistan's decision to allocate 2,000 megawatts of electricity for Bitcoin mining and artificial intelligence data centers amongst ongoing negotiations tied to the country's extended financial program. And if you missed it at the Bitcoin conference in Vegas, Pakistan announced adopting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So of course the IMF globalist elite are going to begin FUDing, which is precisely what we're witnessing. The initiative announced last week, designed to attract autonomous miners, blockchain companies, and AI firms to Pakistan. However, the IMF raised the red flags about the move, requesting urgent clarification for the ministry regarding the legality of the crypto mining and the power allocations, particularly as the nation struggles with chronic, sign me up, please, energy shortages and fiscal pressures, according to the report. Now, per the report, the IMF was not consulted, so why are they FUDing? No one asked for your opinion, IMF. But you already know. They wrote here, the fear of further talks from the IMF on the initiative, an official involving the ongoing negotiation reportedly said. The economic team's already facing stiff questions, and this move has only added to the complexities of the talks. The IMF delegation, currently conducting virtual discussions with Pakistani officials. So my understanding, they're going to do everything in their power to try to convince Pakistan that it's the wrong move and that it's dangerous for your people, it's dangerous for the economy. But the reality is, it's just another domino falling as more and more countries follow in the footsteps of Bitcoin president Bukele with Bitcoin Country, which turned their country around from the most violent capital, the murder capital of the entire world, to the safest country there is. So now the safest in the Americas, and that apparently goes against the IMF religion. Lord forbid there's safety and there's no more gangs and corruption due to the fiat monopolies. But you already know. Let me know your thoughts surrounding that. Let's go. Next story of the day, I dare say, fuck the IMF. We gonna be okay. We don't need them. This is a freedom play. But yeah, next story of the day, Bitcoin supply shock could amplify the price. Income and supply shock, very minimal amount of the biddies left on the exchanges. And what's going to happen is, it's common sense. It's basic supply demand. When you got a massive amount of unprecedented demand backed by institutions and Bitcoin treasury companies and countries and very limited supply even available, it's going to send shockwaves through the price. Parabola, new all-time high, 2.2 million in play is all I got to say. Don't be Diddy and don't be gay. Bitcoin entering a period of supply shock that could have more dramatic price implications than the previous cycles. According to the head of research at banking group Singum, if I'm pronouncing that one right, large demand will have the strong multiplier effect, meaning every dollar demand leading to, say, 20 to 30 bucks of additional market cap. Let's get it. We have already seen this multiplier effect after the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs and around the U.S. elections. They cited the limited liquid supply of the Bitcoin relative to the large pools of institutional capital, the institutional FOMO like a mofo. The demand side as a reasonable possible spike for the biddy over the coming months. This liquid supply has been falling steadily over the past 1.5 years, not least because of the proliferation of the Bitcoin acquisition vehicles, such as Strategy, 21 Capital. That's the new one from Jack Mallers, backed by the Likens, Cantor Fitzgerald, and Tether USDT, amongst the others. And it seems every day we got a new Bitcoin treasury company being birthed. But will they hold down the company like the Giga Chat has been able to do since 2020 through the bear markets? That's the $1 million question. Will they survive? Let me know your thoughts. She also noted structural factors contributing to the bullish forecast of the biddy, including increased regulatory clarity, macroeconomic pressure, and the Bitcoin growing appeal as a deflationary asset. The Bitcoin ETF has seen just 4 days of outflows since April 16th, and now Bitcoin consolidation. This could be the healthy pause. Analysts are calling for 200,000 to 300,000 in play, but stick around. I'll be sharing a 400,000 target baked into the code. And you already know, 420 base for the broskies. Headline here, it's for everyone. With 60 billion in Bitcoin strategies, Michael Saylor appeals to the masses. He gave the keynote speech on the last day of the conference. I did post it, I think it was yesterday, on my X account. It's maybe 20 minutes or so. Make sure to watch it if you haven't watched it already, and make sure you guys are following me over on X. But you should be able to see my screen here. Let's run through this real quick. We still got a lot more to share. Strategy CEO Mikey Saylor touted Bitcoin as virtually foolproof path to wealth creation. Couldn't agree more. I got to do his hodl, fam. From business owners to families and even one's enemies in his speech at the keynote he gave during the roughly 35-minute presentation entitled 21 Ways to Wealth. And again, I posted the entire thing on my X account. The famous Bitcoin maxi said the world's oldest crypto is perfected capital, championing its incorruptible, programmable nature. He urged his audience to buy more of the biddy and enrich yourselves. Bitcoin is engineered to outperform everything. And of course, juicing demand for the biddy would likely benefit Saylor and Strategy, boosting the value of the company holdings. The firm added billions of dollars in Bitcoin to the corporate treasury this month alone, bringing the total holdings to now 580,000, which means they own more than 3% of the Bitcoin supply. And do you think he's slowing down anytime soon? I think not. And although speaking before the Bitcoiners, the executive stressed his sales pitch was largely for the crypto-curious listeners watching via the live stream. He was looking to orange pill the masses like a young blackberry molasses. And not just the multi-billion-dollar companies. It's for everyone, Saylor claimed. And that's Mikey the Sailor Man. Toot toot. Take your fiat currency, trade it for the biddy. Take your long-term capital, trade it for the biddy. Sell your bonds, trade them for the biddy. Sell your inferior equity, sell your inferior real estate property, and buy Bitcoin. I even heard he gave the Trump family some advice. He said, mortgage your mansion or property in Mar-a-Lago and buy some biddy. Couldn't agree more. The strategy executive also urged his listeners to embrace AI tools, touting their ability to transform the average person into 100 super geniuses. Quoting the Giga Chat here. I tell all my execs, before you ask for a lawyer, before you ask for a banker, before you ask any expert, go ask AI. Make it think, grind, the Silicon overlord. Hey now. Sailor recently shared the strategy used AI to help craft its unique stock offerings to help power the firm's bountiful Bitcoin buys, or bountiful, I should say. His Bitcoin acquisition spree has inspired a growing number of firms to stockpile the biddy, with public companies like Metaplanet, Semler Scientific, and most recently GameStop CEO announced their first Bitcoin buy, which we covered just above $500 million. Why so bearish, GameStop? I heard you're sitting on billions. Similarly, institutional investors also increasingly invested in Bitcoin via the ETFs, pouring billions of dollars into the spot ETFs over the past year and a half since their debut in the U.S. BlackRock's ETF recorded nearly $6 billion worth of the inflows in May, once all was said and done, coming close to the monthly record. Investors' growing appetite for Bitcoin has pushed Bitcoin to a new all-time high of 112, which I believe that was on May 22nd. But let me know if you got to listen to the Michael Saylor speech, the keynote in particular. And again, if you didn't, check show notes below the video in the description and make sure to check it out. But yeah, let's continue with our next story today. Don't forget to smash the likes, repost the stream. Let's discuss this leverage trader, and then we'll discuss the $400,000 target. So these are our final two stories of the day, and then we'll flip it to the uncensored version of the pod. Bitcoin bull market great validator comes as James Nguyen loses $100 million. I wanted to share a tweet he shared. The more these exchanges try and fuck me, the more I'm coming for them. Multiple of my exchange accounts have been closed overnight for nothing. You know why? Because I'm a pro decentralization, anti-corruption. I am pro hyperliquid. I am anti-market making manipulation. Come at me. My records are clean. My trades are clean. My source of funds legit. My taxes have been paid. Millies. Come at me. I'll use it to my advantage. You have nothing on me. I am a meme coin degen and a high leverage gambler. All money, all wallets, clean like a jelly bean. Never taken a dollar to shill a shit coin. Never done a pump and dump. Just worked my way up from the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we here on chain. But when you start locking my accounts, you're making me want to talk to the Moonpig team about becoming the next high leverage, taking all you mofos down. Sorry, I'm a tad drunk, slightly pissed. They're turning this into a war. I was built for this shit. I live for the war. I only read Sun Tzu. And lawyer up. Unblock my accounts or I'm going public. So you're going ham right here. But anyways, let's dive a little deeper into what's going on. Pretty hilarious. But anyways, Bitcoin profit taken need to be a sign that the bull market is nearing the end, according to Sentiment. Analyzing the mean dollar invested age metric, length of the time coin spent to the wallets without the movement. It revealed the supply has begun to activate since mid-April. During the most bull cycles, a falling, meaning average holding wallets are getting younger, validator that the bullish momentum will continue. More technically, a falling line indicates that the old coins are being brought back into the circulation, allowing the utility to rise and the asset of the network to grow and flourish. Since mid-April, tension began to ease over the initial tariff announcement. Bitcoin MDIA has been dropping steadily. Oh no, end of the world. The average time the coins are held in the wallet decreased modestly over the past 6 weeks to 426 days, 443, while the signals their own owners seek to lock profits. Sentiment argues such behaviors are necessary to help keep a rally alive. This adds weights to the argument. The market is in an active phase, not just beginning to driven short-term speculation. And back to this leverage trading. Check it out. Despite the sentiment, conspicuously bullish analysts, consensus seeing healthy support, retesting before the upside continuation. Now, sentiment was amongst those commenting on the fate of one whale in particular, referencing Hyperliquid's James Nguyen, who we've been covering all week, whose long Bitcoin position was liquidated for $99 million as the price hit the 105 mark, and it was official. It was verified by Sentiment as well as other online, analytics firms. When major longs get liquidated, the prices typically move down sharply because of the major capital is no longer propping up the price. And I'm actually going to go to James Nguyen, and you can follow this trader as well. He's definitely entertaining. I just started following him more recently. But let's see some of the other recent posts that he has shared. People are feeling sorry for him, like, dude, you lost $100 million. But he's like shooting it right back in their face, like, yo, I'm grateful to be in a position to lose 100 million because trust me, he's ultimately still bragging. He is a millionaire, so I wouldn't be crying over this guy. But Andrew Tate wrote here, I'm a James Wynn fan, the highest level of capability, true Zen, understanding nothing is real and nothing matters. Money isn't real. The simulation endlessly rewards the brave, always has, always will. And it is amazing how bravery in and of itself solicits hate from cowards. And I already read you some of his insights here, but he believes the exchanges are trying to mess him. He also says, I don't even want to touch on the topic, but I'm going to dab on it briefly. For those saying I round tripped 100 million, that's a very cheap word in crypto. I flipped 3 to 4 million on perps into 100 perpetual into 100 million, ended up negative 13 million. Y'all act like gods, like y'all had cashed out, etc. Did it dawn on you I didn't even intend to cash out the 100 million? Why would I? For perspective, sometimes 10,000 will change someone's life. Sometimes 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, sometimes a billion, 10 billion, 100 billion. Everyone's in their own league. Everyone has their own goals. For me, it's all or nothing. But my nothing is still a very happy place. So I don't encourage my kind of bets to anyone, but either way, I'm coming back for it all. Jay Wynn will be back. We'll be back when nobody, including the corrupt market makers, directly attack me multiple times when they ain't ready for it. I came in at the wrong time. I came in when they had too much selling power, over and out, at a party this evening, but just thought I'd share this while I'm taking a dump in the toilet. Enjoy your weekend. I mean, if that's not entertainment, I don't know what is. But yeah, my understanding is that trader got his come up on Pepe. He started with just a couple of $100 over the years, turned it into 100 million, and this week alone lost that 100 million. Mind-boggling. Welcome to the degeneracy of crypto. And if you don't know, now you know. Now for our feature story of the day. 400,000 Bitcoin this cycle is not a dream. That's right. According to this analyst, let's break this baby down. He actually tweeted right here. Bitcoin is coded to 400,000. And this is from Kyle Chasse, analyst, who says he's been championing Bitcoin since 2012. And obviously that was the year of the first halving, which would make him an OG. And he shares this chart which shows the global M2 money supply, which ultimately is insinuating money printer go brr, setting Bitcoin parabolic. And if you don't know now, you know. I also like to point out my personal target for my base case for this year is 420, which is right in alignment with Kyle Chasse. Am I based? Absolutely, specifically for the baddies and the broskies. My bull scenario is a 1.1 mil, half of that of Max Kaiser, your holiness, your high priest, who's calling for 2.2 million. And my bear scenario, which means the absolute low for this year, in my humble opinion, 222,000, yay, nay. Do you agree? Holla, let me know, and let's dive a little deeper into Kyle Chasse. He says the Bitcoin price tends to follow the global M2 money supply with a 90-day lag. He matched the daily close on the Bitstamp exchange against the world M2 data, shifted 3 months back. That overlay shows that when the global liquidity climbs, the Bitty often rises after roughly 90 days. Which is practically 3 months, right? Bitcoin first spiked above 109 this past January. I believe that was the previous all-time high, inauguration day, Jan 20th to be precise. Then it fell below 74. Just picture this volatility. We hit 109 Jan 20th, then we dumped to 75, and before you know it, we just hit a 112 all-time high on May 22nd. Talk about extreme volatility. Some people don't like the volatility. I say, send me more volatility. I'm hodling, baby. And based on the lagged money supply trend, it feels like a pause. Menopause, I dare say, ladies, in a bigger up-down cycle rather than the end of the rally. That's what I'm saying. Next leg up incoming, broskies. The growing money figures. Global M2 stood at around 98 trillion at the early of 2023. It rose to just over 108 trillion by the early 2024. Then the growth, it slowed down, and Bitcoin spent some time below 80. Oh no. And lately, the M2 passed 111 trillion. Another divine omen. 111. And based on those numbers, reports say the Bitty upside can stretch into mid-2025 as the liquidity stays strong. And as you can see outlined here on X, Bitcoin is coded for 400,000 per coin. The $1 million question, when? I personally think it's going to happen this year. But I want to know your thoughts, fam-a-lam, in the comments, and we'll dive deeper into the targets here. Chasse projects Bitcoin may hit 400 G's, baby, if the global M2 keeps growing. And I already know it's going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to print. It is coded, he says. Couldn't agree more. That means roughly a 270% jump. Come on, jump around, jump up, and stack biddy. You already know. And based on this model, investors watching liquidity trends might see the big gains, though it won't be smooth. It never is. Now, other experts point out that the money supply isn't the only driver. There's other alternatives. Real interest rates, policy shifts, on-chain signals, macroeconomics. This can speed up or slow down the moves. If the central banks turn to hawkish, for example, like the Hawk Tua girl and Hawk Tua spit on that thing, the higher rates can undercut the Bitcoin even if the M2 ticks up. That's right. And based on the report from the global macro investor, the global M2 leads the biddy by about 12 weeks. Holy moly. That's a 3-month run-up. That gives traders a rough timetable. And if the M2 growth really slows in the coming months like a turtle, Bitcoin may hurdle its ground to crack first. But on the flip side, any fresh liquidity surge could set the stage for new highs. But you guys let me know your thoughts. 420, is it coded into the biddy? Will we hit 420 for the broskies this cycle? Holla at your boy, and welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. We're going to end the YouTube transmission and continue with the uncensored version of the pod, exclusive on Rumble and X. So if you're on YouTube, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck out of here. See you on the Rumble.